And like if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like nothing will stop me, you know. Like
I've learned that.
yeah.
I've learned that.
You've been to the gym with me a few times.
Yeah.
You know? My man.
My brother, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Enjoying the day, enjoying life.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Well, you and I met privately before today, and we decided to come here and do something different for the Telescope Room. So now you will be my permanent co-host.
Oh, I'm so
Big
thrilled.
hand.
Let's go.
Big hand.
You guys don't know what you're in store for. This year's going to be excited as we move forward with the Telescope Room. What else do we have planned for the Telescope Room?
So we decided to do a different segment and call it the Conversations episode 1, 2, 3, and so on. And this time, we're just going to talk.
Just talk. See, a couple of weeks back when you texted me and told me about the conversations, I was dwelling on that. I'm like, my gosh, this is good because besides interviews, I think conversations need to happen. And we've had a lot of conversations behind closed doors that were just so organic and authentic that I think we do need to share with everyone else to help other people.
Yeah, every time you leave, I always tell you, like, we should have had the cameras on. Right
Yeah.
now. You know, so I think, you know, one of the things that always works, in my opinion, and I think you agree, is we all work better and we all feel better and we all perform better when you feel safe.
Yeah.
You know, and we've built a good relationship with each other as brothers and as people and as spirits to get to this point where we could just relax and just talk and be open and free and just have it be exactly what you said, organic.
Yeah.
You know, I think if there was more of that, more authenticity and more organic podcast, you know, people would be more inclined to tune in. I think there's a lot of false pretense. I think a lot of people put a lot of energy into image and, you know, things that are just not really valid in our internal world. You know, the external part seems to dominate society now, you know?
Agreed. One of the great things is there's no hidden agendas.
No.
So that's what makes, there's no pressure. And that's what makes it so organic, as we were saying. And there's freedom in that. And it's not just about performance. It's just being real, having real life talks.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, again, I just think people are able to embrace that and gravitate to that when they know it's coming from that place. Sometimes people try too hard and it just doesn't work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, I know that I sit on my couch and I browse YouTube and I look for stuff, content, and sometimes I'm like, these all look like they're actors.
Yeah.
They look like they're acting. They dress like actors. They talk like actors. It's edited like actors. It's just not, you know, flowing. But, you know, want to pick something random?
Well, let's start off. Tell me about your year so far as we enter 2022.
I'm a little under the weather today.
I could tell you're drinking your tea.
I'm drinking my tea, no vodka for once. Years. But the year is good. You know, I have a new album coming out, which I'm really excited about. Decade 2.0, March 7, 2022.
Come on.
You know, the podcast here, what we're doing, the new segments, I'm super excited about that. Putting the lockdown shows together for the tour. I'm excited about that. The Psychonaut garments, which you can see Mr. Rojas here sporting live and direct, because everything does have to be done with purity. You know, staying in shape, staying healthy. You know, just making sure that every aspect of my life is nurtured.
So you're saying 2022 has already started off. You jumped off in a good pace. You're running.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, in all due honesty, a lot of the things that I did last year set me up for this year. Like, I wanted to kick off the year knowing that I had been training for almost a year, that my album was complete, that the diligence for the clothes was already done. You know, that the diligence for the shows and everything that happened last year was all set for this year. So I definitely have a head start.
Well, let me ask you this. What makes this year starting off different from other years the way you started off?
I would say I had other years where I had something similar going on, but not to this degree because I'm a completely different person. You know, I think when you're dominated by a lot of things instead of dominated by one thing, and that can't always be a bad thing. You know, like if you're dominated by your resilience, if you're dominated by your ambition, if you're dominated by your drive, then that means you're going to have a dominant, successful year, even if monetary, it doesn't equate to what you wanted to. Just the level of your resilience and knowing that you gave it your best and you gave it everything that you possibly could is a victory in itself. Now, when you have things lined up, but you're dominated by ego, you're dominated by validation, you're dominated by praise, then you're going into the year with a lot of good stuff, but wrong intentions.
Yeah, that's good.
And that self-destructs and dissolves.
Yeah.
And then before you know, you got to start all over again. So this isn't about starting all over again. This is doing it right from the gate.
So would you say your self-discipline is at its prime right now?
Yes.
That's so incredible.
Yes.
When did you start realizing you needed more self-discipline in life for internal?
I would say that's a loaded question. I think when I realized I needed more discipline in life was probably a long time ago. But when I did something about it, was different. Because I think we can all say that we can always add more to our life, but I think we've had this conversation too. The wanting to do something and having to do something can divert those plans.
Oh, yeah. It's the difference between realizing and acting on it.
Yeah. You're going to start quoting your book right now, huh? You think you're all bad.
No, I think in my book, what I said, there's a difference between dream chasers and daydreamers.
I love that. Yeah, you have some really, really good stuff in the book too. You gotta put people up on your book.
I appreciate that. I think one of these conversations, we're going to talk more on it.
Okay.
I want to touch on when we talked about the tea, you said it's not vodka.
Yeah.
Are you living right now a sober life?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How long have you been sober?
I'm a big advocate, and I don't like to put time out there because we still live in a planet of a lot of unconscious people. Mm-hmm. There may be somebody that's been sober for 6 days right now that might be told, you've only been sober 6 days. You don't have no right to say anything. Go get 6 years in. So I don't like to speak about time because I don't agree with it.
I see that.
It's just been a long time.
I see
It's been years and years and years.
I see a celebration in 6 hours to 2 days to 10 years of just even the journey they're taking.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question then.
Yeah.
How old were you when you first had your first drink?
Probably 15 years old.
15 years old. Now, obviously, you probably had to have someone buy it for you?
No. You walk right in the liquor store and put it right in your pocket and walk right out. You were, there was bad leadership.
Yeah.
There was a lot of bad leadership, Everybody around me drank when I grew up. And again, one thing that I don't like to do is blame other people and what they had going on because I could have said no.
Yeah.
I know age and the level of immaturity is a little bit different, but you are your mind is not fully developed. You're an underdeveloped young person that doesn't have the tools to make those type of responsible decisions because you are unable to comprehend with what an weapon of mass destruction you have in your hand.
Yeah. I agree on that. I think we all have, even at a young age, we learn from our own mistakes, but then once we come to our mind starts developing and of knowledge, our decisions are our own. We're able, there's consequences to every decision we make, every road we take. We have to take ownership of the good, the bad, the undecided, everything's.
I think that's deep and that's dope. We were listening to some on the way up here where he says, we have 70, 80, 90,000 thoughts a day. And, a lot of those thoughts are the same thoughts we had yesterday. Mm-hmm. And then if you think that way and you feel that way and you behave that way, how do you change that? That actually becomes your personality, which then becomes your personal reality.
Come on.
right?
Yeah.
So until you change that and you divert from that path you're on, then you evolve. And when you evolve, then your personality changes and your personal reality changes. But if you continue to stay in the same rumination, then you stay in the same darkness and you stay in a contaminated pond, then you behave in a contaminated way, but somehow you don't see it. You think you are free. You think you are okay. And, when I started with alcohol, there was nothing anyone could tell me to get me out of it. Like, I was dominated by the world of alcoholism and everything that came with it.
So it no longer became a want. It was becoming a need in your life.
It was an absolute need in my life. Like, I could not function if I didn't. Like, the only time that I didn't drink was when I was asleep.
Would you say when you were drinking, it was mixed with either depression? Did you mix it with anger? Did you mix it with anxiety?
I mixed it with every horrible emotion that any human can experience. Depression, anger, resentment, abandonment. A lot happened when I was really young. So at the time, I didn't understand that was an escape for me. I didn't understand that till later.
Yeah.
But, it was an escape for me because it got me out of the way that I felt when I was sober. But again, we didn't have the tools to deal with your authentic feelings to be able to heal from them in an authentic way so you can have an authentic life. You know what I mean? So Where does that lead you? The opposite of authenticity is not real. It's fraud. It's fake. So you start living an unauthentic life and you start behaving in an unauthentic way and you're surrounded by unauthentic people.
Yeah. Wow. That's heavy.
It's true.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, a lot of conversations that we've had and we say, man, that was deep, but that's heavy. Like it really isn't. It's the truth is heavy for people because they live in a fraudulent way. Mm-hmm. Most people do not live in reality. Most people are dominated by resentment. Most people are dominated by depression, by ego, by some type of negative emotion. And when you are driven by that emotion, then you have perception, right? So when your perception is made up about a certain thing or a certain religion or a certain person, then your mind is made up.
Yeah.
And no matter if that person shows you different or behaves different or does anything different, if your perception of that person is made up, that is how you're going to see that person.
Yeah. Because a lot of people have different types of addiction, and then it becomes an idol in their life.
Right.
You're saying that alcohol in you was everyday part of your life besides sleeping. I mean, if you were able to drink it while you were asleep, you'll still do it at the time. But during that time, you were making albums.
Yeah.
And you were under the influence.
At all times. That's why if you look at my interviews that talk about my older albums, I don't like my older albums.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that.
It's to me like, let's just say I was a football player. It's like I was on the field playing injured. Mm-hmm. So when I was recording, I was a limited version of myself. All these albums that people like that, I don't even like my voice. If you listen to my voice, I don't even sound like me. And I'm talking nonsense. Unconscious nonsense.
I feel a lot of people are able...
Nonsense.
A lot of people are able to listen because they're able to relate to it at the time.
Unconscious people are able to relate to it, okay? I'm sorry to say.
No, yeah. And I know you don't like touching about it. And when you hear your old albums, does it make you cringe?
It doesn't make me cringe because I still respect the path.
Yes.
I still respect, the passion because there was passion.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't like to talk about these things because I've grown from that. And I know that I openly say that we do live in the planet of the unconscious, but a lot of that demographic is unconscious.
Yeah. Now let me touch on this. The reason I bring it up is not to glorify the past,
I
but
know.
to show of how you
Evolve.
And it's able to help someone else who that's going through it right now.
Yeah.
They're able to see there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, was it easy to find that light at the end of the tunnel?
No. It wasn't easy at the time. But when you become advanced in your growth, you realize how simple it is for you to really like turn your life around if you really want to, because you're blinded.
It's second nature to you right now. But at the time, it wasn't.
No.
It was a process.
Yeah, it was.
Many times failed and jumping back on to keep going on the road.
It was several times failed. Not many times. It was several times because even then I had a lot of resilience. I'm so resilient. I will say one thing about me. I'm not like in that way.
No, go for it.
But I'm very resilient. And like if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like nothing will stop me, you know. Like
I've learned that.
yeah.
I've learned that.
He's been to the gym with me a few times.
Yeah.
But you know, so like I was saying, when you get consumed in the perception of what is real, it is a very difficult phase to be able to dissolve that perception and step into the real world. Not your world, but the real world that consists of humility and gratitude and responsibility and, you know, being able to take care of yourself before you decide to take on taking care of someone else. Your home, your bills, your spirit, your physical, your internal. Like those are the things that place you in a situation where it speaks for them.
Yeah.
It speaks alone. You just walk in a room, say, that's a health. If I walked in a room right now and somebody didn't know who I was, but that's a healthy guy right there.
Yeah.
He takes care of himself. If I walked in the room 15 years ago, I'd be like, that's an alcoholic and he's pretty scary. And I'm not sure that I want my children to be around that guy.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Now, when you can make that statement without saying a word, well, that says a lot.
I applaud you because you don't look at your past as a cringe moment, but as like you're able to smile like, look at my involvement. Look at how I've grown. So you're in a position now where you have influence. You bring what's the correct term? Like positivity.
Experience?
Experience.
The experience. Well, you know, when I saw you, I'll make this about us. When I saw you and I saw what you were doing, and I saw you, a young Latino, being passionate, married, father, following his purpose, I said, that's dope. And I sent you a message.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we met up. Because a part of me still feels that, even though you were familiar with me, that I owe that back. Now that I have influence.
Yeah.
I don't wake up like, you know, this is who I am. But I do feel that not only do I owe that back, but I owe it eternally.
Yeah.
And if I have the ability to do that while I'm alive and leave something back when I'm gone that can change somebody's life, then I'm going to do that. And I saw that in you, and you're being a good leader to your wife and your children and your peers. And I applaud that, bro, because, you know, when I was your age, I was still in the darkness and I had influence, but I wasn't a good leader. I wasn't leading by example. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I would use that influence for all the wrong reasons, and I would go about it all the wrong ways. And that's why my life always ended up in some self-destructive state. And I think it's really important that we touch on how important that is.
Yeah.
That if we don't change and we continue to live under these resentment traits and these egotistical and selfish ways, that only equates to self-destruction.
Yeah.
I don't care how handsome you are, how beautiful you are, how much money you have, what mansion you live in, how much you travel. That inner poverty will show up wherever you go.
Oh, yeah.
Because it showed up wherever I went. I could have been in the balcony in Maui with countless money in the bank in my freezer, and I had that inner poverty in paradise. And guess what? It didn't take too long before it showed up.
Oh, yeah. We were talking a couple of days ago, and I told you the course of your life is determined by the condition of your heart.
Yeah.
And it starts to ooze out. So however the condition of your heart is, it oozes out to not just outside of you, but to your surroundings. So you could have it all the money in the bank. You could be in Malibu, but yet you could be bonded in bondage. You could be chained up to anger that won't allow you to thrive forward.
And I was binded to anger.
Yeah.
You know, I was binded to self-entitlement, anger, resentment. I wanted more, you know, and I'm going to tell you a story. One time I went to Seaport Village in San Diego, and I had a big gulp. And I had a bottle of Red Passion Alizé in there with a little bottle of cognac. And I'm, you know, twisting it around, and then I start drinking. I see this guy, and he's jogging, maybe like 34 or 35 years old. And he's just jogging. And I said, man, that guy right there looks like he does not drink or mishandle his life. I wish I could be like that guy, right? And fast forward, now I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm that guy. Now to think that there was a time in my life that I never thought I could be like that guy. And when I say that guy, I mean what he chose as the things to be important in his life. Granted, I don't know him personally.
Yeah.
I don't know. But what I'm saying is what he displayed of himself was a healthy, productive, positive energy.
And you caught that.
And I caught that.
And just like...
I bet you somebody could have... I'll say this out loud. Like, It's okay. There must have been more than one time where somebody saw me and said, I don't want to be like that guy in my past. You know? And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I've been able to turn that around.
Yeah.
So anybody out there struggling with darkness, alcoholism, vices, ego, dominance, you can turn it all around.
Oh, of course.
You can turn it all around, but you got to surround yourself with people that want the best for you.
Yes. Who you do life with is very important.
Very, very, very important.
When you do life alone, you're going to stay stagnant. You need those who are around you that's going to help lift you up, that's going to speak the encouraging word. Now, they're not meant to run your life, but they're there for you when you're in need. One of the things I believe in is doing life together is important. We all belong together. There's something that you do in your life that could teach me to help me better my life, vice versa.
And we do that.
Yeah.
We do that for each other now. I do want to say something to the person or people out there that feel that they don't have nobody.
Yeah.
Because when you're in that state, that's one of the things that come, but I don't have nobody.
Yeah.
My mother hates me. My dad died. My grandma has cancer, and all my cousins, we don't talk. I don't have nobody. Okay. So if you can't hang out with somebody that wants the best for you, then you do the best for you.
Yeah.
Because guess who keeps you company when you're alone? Your thoughts.
Yep.
So you have to do the best thing for you. And eventually, I promise you, doors will open.
It takes work. It's not going to be easy. If everything was easy, then there will be no need for a podcast. There'll be no need to go to the gym. We go to the gym, not for results now, but for the future.
Yeah.
I will
to expand our life.
expand. Yes.
We talked about this. One of the things too, and I was that guy. And I love putting myself in the midst of it because I lived in both worlds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when the whole authentic part, I'm not ashamed of it though. Mm-hmm. I'm really not. I'm not ashamed of it in the sense where I could say, excuse me, there was a purpose because now I'm conscious.
But we need that because many times people are like, no, we got to keep it hidden. We can't be out loud with it. We need to see other people say, yes, it's okay to be public about it.
Well, yeah, because there's consciousness and then there's being alert.
Yeah.
Like being alert is just being awake. It's no different than a dog. A dog learns how to survive in the street, right?
Yeah.
But he can't self-expand. You only self-expand with consciousness, with awareness. And then from self-expansion, you can self-transform and self-master yourself. But you have to be conscious.
Yeah.
You have to be open to activating the parts of you that you're unfamiliar with.
That's good. Yeah.
Because like we were just hearing, like you grow from a place of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. You grow from the unknown.
We grow outside of comfort zones.
Yes. Otherwise, how?
Yeah.
You know, you had to go through the same thing through your struggle.
Oh, yeah.
You know, young, you're going towards the church. In our culture, you know how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, come on, dog. Like, yeah, come on, dog.
Yeah.
You know?
It's relatable. But to see where you're at right now is very inspiring to other people. So an encouragement right here is to keep going. Each new day is a brand new day for new possibilities, for new decisions to be made and not to be held on to the past decision. Even if you messed up yesterday, tomorrow's still brand new. Start brand new.
Yeah. That being said too, is we have to be very careful with that type of language, in my opinion, especially to somebody that is uncertain about the power of growth, because sometimes I was one of them. I would say, well, I have room to make this mistake because I'm new. Like I'm barely trying to change my life. If I make a mistake, like I have the right. No, like see me, if I have a regression where somebody makes me lose my cool, right?
Yeah.
Is that their fault or my fault? If I go play with dynamite and I know that the dynamite can blow half my soul off, is it the dynamite's fault or is it my fault? I should not be playing or entertaining dynamite, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So I can't use the dynamite as an excuse, which takes courage. Mm-hmm. It takes courage for you to not step into a vicinity that can damage your growth. It takes a lot of courage because you can have attachments.
Yeah.
And attachments are shackles. And when you can't take the shackles off, or you think you can't take the shackles off, then you just have this long chain following you around wherever you go. But eventually the chain and you can't go any further. And this will keep dragging you on. You know what I'm saying?
I define growth by consistency. And in the church, we talk about grace a lot. Grace we didn't deserve, but it allows us to move forward and from our past to where we are now. It's the same thing as grace is there to forgive us, but we're not meant to abuse grace. Like just because we know there's grace laid upon us doesn't mean, okay, I'm able to go out and make these mistakes because I know God is going to forgive me. No, it doesn't work that way. Grace is like if we're putting all our hard work at it and we're really fighting to do better, and yet we slip and fall, that's where grace comes in and helps lift us up. They're like, you know what? Okay, I am still able. I'm still worthy. I still have what I got to move forward. So I'm going to run with it. That's where grace comes in. And many times we think grace is just a get out of free jail card.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's beautiful because how could I say this? You're not supposed to be forced to honor something.
Yes.
If you honor something by free will, then it's true honor.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And free will is very important.
It's the responsibility that comes with free will.
Oh, yeah.
Is enormous. And I think that's why these segments are so important.
Yeah.
That's why these conversations are so important. Because if you take the average couple, the average first date, the average, meeting, these are not the conversations they're having.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not. Like, the conversations are based on, sex and money and likes and
what to get the most views.
Okay, let me put all my good stuff out there.
It's a challenge.
And because I don't want you to see,
yeah,
what happens when the cologne and the perfume wears off. Let me just stick around while it's still on and heavy, and that's no way to live.
Yeah.
That's a temporary disaster.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well, it's the challenging topics that's going to make the impact in someone's life.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question right now. Since you're in a good place, what qualifies a good leader?
Honesty. I would say honesty, and the magnitude of your sincerity. Because if the magnitude of your sincerity is pure, you're going to lead in a pure way. And you still have to be, empathetic and compassionate, but you have to be stern too.
Yeah.
Leadership is important, but leadership can be very dangerous because some people abuse that title.
They do.
That was a very good question.
Thank you.
That was a very good question. I feel like this is probably like you're interviewing me like dope right now. I like it.
I appreciate that. But the reason I ask these questions is because I respect you. And a lot of people who watch the Telescope Room respects you. So it's important to see your mind, to open up your mind, because your mind's big, your heart's big, but we're allowing people to get a little insight of what goes on in Mr. Little One's head. And I think it's important because it allows them, like, man, I was like him. I ran around like him. I was crazy like him. But if he's where he's at now, I could do that too.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I have a long way to go still.
Oh yeah.
But I am proud to say that when you get to experience the reward of growth, it's beyond anything you can imagine.
One of the great things too is we'll never hit that.
No, there isn't that. It's infinite.
Because we're always going to keep growing and growing and growing.
Well,
so then that's the thing. If someone's looking for a deadline, they're already messed up.
Yeah.
Because the fact is we're just going to keep growing and we're always going to go for a better version of ourselves. Like, no matter how I am now from what I was 10 years ago, there's still a lot more room of growth, more room to learn.
But you see, that's a good space to have.
Yes.
Because you're never going to stop being better.
Yeah.
Now, there are some people that you can say, hey, guess what? The doctor said your cancer is gone. And in 15 minutes, they will find something else to complain about.
Yeah.
Dude, the doctor said you no longer have cancer. Did you register that? Yeah, but my truck sucks. Like, there's existing and there's living.
Yeah.
When you're just existing, those are the things you're going to gravitate to. When you're living, you want to grow.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy hearing a bee. You're going to enjoy the birds. You're going to enjoy the sound of the ocean. You're going to enjoy an airplane going by. You're going to enjoy hearing a little baby cry. You're going to enjoy little kids talking. You're going to enjoy hearing music.
You find appreciation
in everything. Everything has to have meaning.
Yeah.
Some people I would say, who cares? Like, why do you care about what this person says or what? Why don't you worry about you?
There's a quote that inspired me. It was talking about there was a person who was driving a beat down car, and someone pulls up and they have a nice car, like, oh, I wish I had that. And then someone was on a bicycle looking at the person with the broke down car. It's like, oh man, I wish I had a car.
That.
And there was someone at the bus stop looking at the person in the bicycle, was like, oh, I wish I had that. And there was a person in a wheelchair, like, I wish I was just walking.
Wow, that's insane.
And I think that's important of finding appreciation in everything. Yeah, your car may not be the car you want, but you're able to get around. You have something, find value in every little thing. Like you're able to wake up in the morning and see a brand new day. That's a new opportunity. Appreciate that. You're able to have someone to talk to, because not a lot of people have friends. A lot of people look for people. They go throughout their whole week without a hug, hi, a text. So appreciate that, even though they're coming down hard on you, that you have someone that cares about you.
You know, and again, like this is where these segments are so important, and this is why it's beautiful that we're not ever going to stop.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when you give that over and over to unconscious people, and they continue to live their life saying, I never had anyone. I never had anything. No, you were not open to the activation of love.
Yeah.
So you did not embrace. And if you can't embrace, then you can't reciprocate. If you can't reciprocate, you can't evolve. If you can't evolve, you're stagnant.
Yep.
And depressed and suppressed in a very negative space.
Yeah.
But love is everywhere. I know I didn't reciprocate. I know when I was in darkness, hey, how you doing? Don't worry about my day. Don't worry about how I'm doing. Worry about how you're doing.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't say that out loud, I was somewhat even envious of the happy person because I was unhappy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I saw a guy just with a nice energy, it's like, I'm fat and overweight and unhappy and depressed.
Would you say it's because you felt conviction?
Then
Yes.
I didn't have conviction.
That's right.
You can't have conviction if you're feeling that way.
That's right.
You know, you have conviction when you start building a conscious.
Yeah.
When you start feeling like, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. Then when you engage with your repent, when you engage with humility, when you engage with gratitude, then you get to grow.
When you acknowledge.
Then the seed is really planted.
Yeah.
And that desire to be better is the magical water that starts nurturing you, and it starts dissolving the bad, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just really, really important, like you said, that we do find meaning in everything, even in other people's mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that doesn't mean that we have to tolerate them, but we have to find meaning in everything. Because if we don't, then we think we know it all.
Oh, yeah.
Life is a school that we never graduate from.
Exactly.
The important thing is to show up to learn.
Exactly. Now, there are people who are under me that I speak life to all the time. Now, I also have a group of people who speak life into me. It's a cycle, because if I continue...
And they have people that speak life into them.
There's no gap.
Yeah.
Just like I pastor my church, but yet then I have a pastor, and my pastor has a pastor, and their pastor has a pastor.
Yeah.
Why? Because there's no finish line. It's just everyone's held accountable. And if everyone's held accountable, then we're able to, it goes down the line, and I am able to stay aligned.
Yeah.
Someone who's dangerous is someone who's not accountable.
You are absolutely correct. And it's important that we relay these messages of how important accountability is. And I don't mean convenient accountability.
Oh, no.
I mean accountability.
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes you can avoid years of contamination just by saying, hey, I messed up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. I can build from here.
Yeah.
Instead of spending years being dominated by your ego, your self-entitlement, and your repentless state.
That's really good. I like that.
It's the truth, you know?
Yeah.
And I was one of those guys, you know? My brother, rest in peace. We didn't talk for years because we both had egos. You know, we had a very turbulent relationship when we were young. You know, he went away for a while, and when he got out, he tried his best to mend his relationship with me. But I was so consumed in my resentment that my perception of him was negative. And I wouldn't give him the opportunity to activate the positivity that we could have had between us.
Yeah.
You know?
Correct me if I'm wrong. That's pride right there.
That's pride. That's ego.
That's the condition of the heart.
Yeah.
It won't let you move forward.
There's something that I learned that you know, our conditioning comes from the data that we learn. So it's a fact that the data registers, but it's not a fact that everything that's registered is an actual fact. So I wasn't open to letting him activate what we could be.
Yeah.
I was so consumed in my resentment that I treated him like it. My brother would do nice things for me, and I wouldn't accept it, you know?
So looking back on that, now do you treat relationships differently?
Of course, and I don't have many. You know, that comes with even this whole thing, the telescope, and, you know, envy and greed, they look at you through the microscope. Love, purity, liberation, they look at you through the telescope.
Come on.
You know, and when you are in the company of people keeping you through the microscope, you can't be free. And mostly they look at you through the microscope because of what they have going on.
Exactly.
Not because of what you have going on. I will say that I was able to mend my relationship with my brother at the end of his life. You know, and I was able to activate my relationship with him, my love with him. And it was important for me to do that. And I encourage anybody out there that has any shackle with anybody that they love to mend that, because it's important, because you really don't know what could happen at any given moment, you know. And I did have my own goodbye with my brother, and we were able to hug and tell each other we loved each other before he passed away. And, you know, even though we did that, I was so dominated by so much darkness that it took time for me to peel those covers off and be able to be accepting that we did have that moment, you know. And I'm grateful that God gave me the ability to do that.
Yeah.
And say goodbye to him and hug him and tell him that I love him, you know. But ego and a lot of the mistakes from the past and the resentment kept me away from him for a long time and didn't allow me to activate that.
Very grateful that you shared this. Very appreciate it. And I also see, because even during that time, you still had the ego, you still had the pride, the anger, but what was stronger than all of that was love.
Yeah.
Pure love.
It was love.
It was unconditional love right there. Love that's not tainted. Because even though you could be angry at someone, but it's the love that overpowers it.
Yeah, I think you said something very important, because at that time I didn't really have a good relationship with unconditional love. I had conditioned love. I love you if you do this for me, then we're good. And I had to learn, you know, when Angelina was born, a lot changed because of the placement of my life, of where I was in my life, the things that were going on in my life. And she taught me how to love more, because I was so young when my firstborn was born. She got the bad end of it, you know. And, you know, we're mending our relationship, and she's such a good person and a good mother and, you know, a good spirit. And we mend our relationship in our own way. But I learned more through the solitude of being a father. It's like God said, look, I'm about to give you something that you're going to have to take care of, no matter what you're going through. And I'm going to trust that you're going to do it. Here.
Yeah. When my firstborn was born, instantly, I didn't learn, but it was a door that opened, and it was patience.
Yeah.
It was something that I realized that he taught at that moment. He taught me there's patience, because I didn't have patience in the time. And going through life, through every situation, I was learning more and more patience. But it was all because of that moment.
Yeah.
There's moments in our life that are not going to give it to us, but it's going to open our eyes. And that's realization that, okay, patience. Oh, over here, there's confidence. I could have confidence, and I'm growing that. I'm intrigued to it, so I want to go for it more.
Yeah, and I also think I had to learn how to be accepting that the things that were in my data, in my computer upstairs, were not facts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of the resentment I had, a lot of the ego I had, a lot of the anger I had, they were based on non-factual.
That must have been a hard pill to swallow.
It was.
At the time.
It was, because then you convert.
Mm.
If we turn this light off, it's black.
Yeah.
If you turn the light on, we get to see the beauty of what really is.
Yeah.
So I had to be able to be open to saying, I don't know what's going to happen when I turn this light on. I don't know what I'm going to see, because I've adapted to being in pitch black dark.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it anyway, because she deserves to go live and walk in that light. And when I turned it on, you have no choice but to look at things for what they are. And then you navigate through that cycle of life.
Exactly.
Which is like, now, I don't have a lot of people in my life. I have very few people in my life, but the people that I do have in my life love me with all their heart, and I love them with all my heart. And there's mutualism and respect, and we're all growing and we're all evolving, and we all we learn from each other. And, you know, there is no hidden agendas. We are all just who we are. And that's a really important thing to have in your life. You know, and I can honestly tell you, there's no human being on this planet that I hate. I don't hate anyone. And, you know, I am very conscious of where I put myself in and the environments. You know, if I'm outside my house at 10 o'clock at night, I don't feel right.
Yeah.
Like, why am I going to Jack in the Box right now? you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But, you know, after a certain time, I'm at home.
Yeah.
I'm on my couch watching TV, you know? I wake up and do the same thing every day. I wake up at the same time. I take a shower. I read. I go train for 2 hours, as you know.
Yeah.
And then I start my day. Whether it's recording, whether it's coming here, whether it's with my family and my loved ones. But that's how I keep it. I'm very simple.
You're in a good place, a safe place, a place that took time to get to. So once again, it brings back to someone who's probably hearing this, like you can get there.
Yeah, you know, again, I don't want to divert from that. No. I really want to encourage anybody out there that is going through a dark time to know that you can turn it all around.
Yeah.
Anybody that is surrounded by parasitic environments, you can turn that around. You know, you can be victorious from whatever despair you're experiencing right now.
Man, what a conversation.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate you opening up, sharing your heart. And it must have not been easy, but you know what? Where you're at right now, I applaud you.
Thank you.
And I know this is only the beginning.
It's the beginning for all of us.
Yes, it is.
You know, and I just want to let you know that I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to everything that we have planned and coming back and doing episode 10,679.
Come on, let's go.
You know, man. So, hey, that was good, man. You got me.
Hey, my man.
Respect to you, man. Hey, never stop growing. We'll see you in episode 2.